All right, guys, and welcome into another episode of the Wagers on Campus College Football Podcast. I am your host, Alex Mayer, and I am here with Xander. Hey, Xander.
Hello.
And we are going to be breaking down college football week 4 of the 2025 season. Really appreciate you all checking us out and tuning in. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already, and if you could share with any of your pals who love college football, that would be greatly appreciated. We have shows dropping here every Wednesday, as well as Last Call with Xander on Fridays. That's basically injury news, kind of last minute updates before Saturday kickoff. But Xander, it's good to be back with you as always. Pretty fun week of college football, I would say. We had some entertaining games last week from start to finish. Yeah, what are your kind of where do you want to go from here?
Yeah, man. Unofficial SEC kickoff did not disappoint. We had, absolute heartbreakers everywhere. For a close personal one to the podcast, Middle Tennessee State pulls out a miracle in Nevada to absolutely keep our season win total alive for our parlay. There was a lot going on. You know what? It was crazy to look back at it. The 11 a.m. slot was actually kind of boring. I mean, it was when I was trying to put together, I usually do like a little personal 11 a.m. teaser or something. It's really just that Pitt West Virginia game and then that Clemson Georgia Tech. And there was really no other games of note in that 11 a.m. slot. So kind of built up slowly. And by the time we got to the night, man, was it an electric week 3. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, Pitt, West Virginia wasn't even in the 11 a.m. time slot. That was a 2:30 time slot.
Oh, it was?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that just spilled over? Okay.
Yeah, so all we had was Alabama whooping up on Wisconsin and the Clemson Georgia Tech game, as you mentioned, and then I was getting so desperate that I tuned into Buffalo versus Kent State for a while on the side TV because there was nothing else going on. So
yeah, we'll talk about that in the Mac Messiah. That was a heartbreaker for sure.
Yep. Recapping last week for myself and you. I had a decent bounce back week. I went 5-2, up 2.1 units, though my lock lost again. I went with Georgia. I went with Tennessee, team total under 23.5 points. Burns, I was putting together a desk with my wife while that game was going on. And I checked my phone to 30 missed texts from our group chat, and lo and behold, Tennessee has 21 points in the first quarter. So I felt pretty cooked. Amazingly, it was still alive about midway through the third. Yeah, dude. Another tough loss on the lock. That puts my locks to 1-2 on the year. And then yourself, you go 8-8. According to the graphic here, you were down 4.1 units, and you also lost your lock.
Yeah. Yep. I had 3. We like to make sure to share when we put out our cards, just our different unit plays. And I had 3 plays that were higher than to win 1 unit. Most of them are win a unit. And all 3 of them lost. So it was a brutal, brutal, just 500 week put together. Just kind of middling right now, trying to find it. After I looked at the card, way too many favorites, way too many overs. It was a very Joe card of me last week. Just really ham and egged it together. I got to be better myself. Although I haven't hit below 500, it's still, but we're just going to get right into this. To my, I don't know, to my benefit of the doubt, I didn't expect Arch Manning to look like an absolute JV high school player in his Heisman coming of the ages season.
Sure.
He fucking sucks so bad. And my lock was over in that Texas UTEP game.
And you could clearly tell that it would have hit because it actually kind of sniffed it at least a little bit kind of towards the end. So had you just gotten any sort of competent quarterback play, you think you're going over there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I need some words with rivals. I mean, Malachi Nelson, how is that guy 5-star quarterback? I mean, he is unbelievably bad at quarterback. He's like an orgy 2.0. Just can't throw the ball really. And he's got some elusiveness, but Jesus. Yeah, Arch was missing everyone. He couldn't get it on the dot in the flat. Like, man, there's something. It's either a massive case of the yips for any golfing listeners out there, or I guess yips are
We
kind of
all we
sport.
all know what the yips are.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Didn't know if that was exclusive, but yeah, I don't know if it's that. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know, but they play Sam Houston State this week, and if they're not on a tight leash with him to at least see for backup scenario, like what they can get without Arch, I'm going to be stunned.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, he has not been good, and last week was really, really bad. I think he only threw for 114 yards, had an interception, could have had more interceptions. Yeah, I mean, if you watch the highlights or if you just watch the game of his performance, inaccurate, strange arm angles, strange decision making. He's now done this a couple weeks in a row where he's like forced balls into the end zone when he has no reason to be forcing balls into the end zone. When he's kind of drops back to throw, he's running around and tries to make like a Lamar Jackson type play, and it's like, dude, what are we doing here? And that's honestly like way down the list in terms of concerns.
Yeah, but it's spilling over to the entire team because if you're a Texas fan and UTEP is manning you up because they're not scared, and then you can't run the ball for shit, like Arch almost led the team in rushing
Yeah.
just from broken plays. Like they're going to get slaughtered in the SEC. It looked like a 500 SEC team. Like it was more than just makes me question Ohio State's win now, like how they didn't
Mm-hmm.
blow this team out. Although Ohio State's defense still hasn't allowed double-digit points. I mean, they do look legit, but it does have to put that question into your mind just a little bit from what Texas has looked like since that game.
Yeah, sure. Well, we'll find out more about everyone here soon enough, obviously, because Texas, they have their game this week against Sam Houston, and they have a bye, and then they go into Gainesville to take on the Gators, which doesn't really feel like that tough of a game anymore. But based on the way Arch has played, and based on the way Texas can't really run the ball effectively, I would say that there are high levels of concern.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of concern, Clemson loses at the buzzer from I guess not a wacky because Key said after the game it was what they wanted to do, but just kind of a wacky end of the game from a viewership standpoint. Oh man, both of us had Clemson winning the ACC. I had Georgia Tech in the ACC final though. I can't remember if you did as well.
I think I did.
Okay, yeah. So we might see them back because again, Clemson only has one ACC loss, but oh man, trouble in Clemson.
Look, man, if you want to fire me, and you want to find a different coach who's won eight out of the last 10 years the ACC, then go right ahead. You think I'm just going to quit and go lay on the beach if I get fired? No, I'm going to keep coaching. I'm 55 years old. I'm just getting started.
Love it. He is a fucking I Dumbo Sweeney is what I called him this weekend. Listen, he said that I listened to that press conference. If you haven't, go listen to it. But he said, "Oh, we haven't made a national championship since 2020, and like everyone wants to kill." What, Mayor? I'm going to ask you something. What has happened since 2020 that may have sent waves through college football that has different teams starting to compete for national titles? Is there anything big happened in college football?
Yeah, transfer portal.
And NIL collective.
NIL.
Bolstering your roster. And who doesn't use the transfer portal?
Shaka Smart. No, it's Dabo.
I mean, he's just so disconnected from the real world. And, props to him. Love a true football guy because he is. He's just football. I guarantee you doesn't know really any current events going on because he's just that big of a lives in the office during the on season. So do love that about him. But this whole like old man in the rocking chair, like this is the best team. Like now, unless they go heavy in the portal in the offseason, like this is what we were building all the seniors for. And like you're keeping a quarterback for 3 years, which right now is unheard of. And they could potentially flop on their face. This is bad news for Clemson. But silver lining, Syracuse, UNC, Boston College, SMU at home, Duke. All of a sudden, Clemson could be 5-1 in the ACC, hosting Florida State in early November, and everything's washed away as we're talking in week 4.
100%. The season is far from over for them, but like I guess if we're talking Clemson and we're talking Texas and there are other teams out there for sure. Dude, what's up with some of these teams not being able to run the football? Like Georgia Tech, like hats off to them. Haynes King was a fucking dog for Georgia Tech. Like that was a big win for them. But like what happened to just like a team like Clemson being able to set the tone on the ground in that type of game? Like where are the running games for some of these big time schools? Because it truly takes so much pressure off of the passing game and your quarterback when you're actually able to establish some semblance of a run game, but it just looks ugly.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great point because, I mean, you look at the national championship last year, it's two teams that focused on running the ball first, Ohio State and Notre Dame. Penn State, Final Four team as well. They also focus on it. So, yeah, you're right. Teams have to get back to running the ball to be successful. And they haven't had a guy since ETN that really, I mean, I guess it's more of a flop situation because they've had the pedigree come into there. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, as far as some of the other games go, I mean,
Notre Dame, how crazy was that game? I mean,
what an insane game, especially for the first time ever that they sell alcohol in the stands. We get that performance.
That is tough. I mean, oh boy. I mean, you can't leave it on. You can because football is not just moments, but when college is just like a fucking 12-yard extra point, you can't fumble the extra point. But your defense and run game is supposed to be highlighted this season. You're coming off a bye and you give up 41 at home. I mean, that's also just completely unacceptable if you're Notre Dame.
Yeah. I mean, is it a pass rush thing? I would like to think that it's probably more of a pass rush thing, not being able to get home. But I will say, for someone who hasn't watched A&M up until that Notre Dame game, I thought Marcel Reed played pretty well, and the receivers that they have, dude. I mean, obviously Casey Concepcion is there, but they got some skill guys in the receiver room who are just making plays all game.
Yeah, Greathouse.
No, he's on Notre Dame.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Blank there. Yeah, dude. They have some athletes, and with a shifty quarterback like Reed, they could be a problem for some defensive sets, like we saw with fucking when they played LSU last year.
Sorry, I got the dog barking. I know.
He's a Notre Dame guy. He's not too psyched about talking about it.
I did not expect A&M's offense to look as good as they did. Like I was very impressed with how well they played, and obviously concerns about ND's defense. What'd you think of Florida LSU? Boy, that game. Woof.
Yeah, and just one last housekeeping about Notre Dame. A lot of talk back and forth. They're still plus 180 to make the playoff. If they win out, they are benefiting from their schedule looking a lot nicer than it did at the start of the season, because you have Arkansas, Boise, an NC State team that's with CJ Bailey has looked better than what we could imagine. Obviously, USC, who now is looking pretty strong. And then you throw in a Pitt that I think will be competing in the ACC. It's plenty good if they win all of those games to go 10-2. They'll be a shoo-in to make the playoff.
Yeah, God, I don't know if I can get there from an agreement standpoint. Just because the USC game is at home, the Pitt game is that game at Pitt, or do you know?
Yeah, at Pitt.
That game's at Pitt. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Arkansas, where's that game at? Fayetteville?
At Arkansas. Yep.
That's weird.
That is a weird game,
but kind of cool. I don't know if it. I mean, no, I know they will get in the playoff if they run the table. I just don't know if I agree with rewarding them, even if they did that against those teams. You know, it's not like they beat Ohio State or something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
their loss would be a 3-point loss on the road to possibly the number 1 team in the country, Miami, and then a bobbled snap 1-point loss at home to Texas A&M, who looks like they're going to be a competitor in the SEC this year.
Yeah. Fair enough. Florida LSU. I mean, I still don't know what to make of LSU other than I have serious concerns about their offense because they cannot run the football. The passing game seems to hit a few plays every game, but overall it's still disjointed and not fluid. I mean, obviously you got to be excited about the defense balling out so far, but at the same time, Florida got shut down by South Florida. So we don't know if Florida's offense is just, poo-poo. So I really don't know what to make of LSU other than the fact that they've done what they've needed to do. They've started 3-0. The defense looks very good. But I do have my concerns moving into the future about what that will mean for them as we get further along in the year. All I know for sure is that the offense needs to get better, period.
Yeah. When you're averaging 20 points a game through 3 games and your highest output is 23 points against Louisiana Tech, who my pick to win the CUSA, and all of a sudden they look pretty good. I will say that. But you're 30-point favorite in that game. That just can't happen. Listen, this was our biggest concern in the preseason, a brand new offensive line. They cannot run the ball. They just can't. And apparently, Nussmeier just can't move it down the field or doesn't want to. Like, he's so timid now. I don't even know what I'm watching. So I don't know if they're like a wolf in sheep's clothing and just kind of getting by for now before the SEC. But that was an SEC game, and you were at home at night in Death Valley and still didn't come out. You see what Brian Kelly said?
I saw his post-game press conference.
Yeah, for those that didn't see, let's take a listen because this is pretty interesting.
Questions?
Brian in the back. I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous.
Oh man, that's great. And wow, Xander, shout out to you. What a cool little feature you got there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been dying laughing every time I've watched that. What about running the ball? You can't run the ball. Shout out to Brian, that reporter. Unbelievable questioning there. I mean, that as an LSU backer here with my money, with Nussmeier, and then also them to win the national championship, this is very concerning to me. A lot of red flags to be so hot on such an easy question that there's no hiding from it. Like, the stats don't lie. Like, to an extent, yes, wins are the only thing that matters. But Brian, we're trying to understand going forward, when you play better teams, is the offense going to show up? What is the problem with the offense? Why is there no forward like passing and some methodical drives that are LSU has been known for? And it's I'm I'd say 8 out of 10 on the worried meter right now for LSU.
Yeah, I'm probably less because I've liked what I've seen from their defense quite a bit. So I feel like they have some time to figure out some of their offensive struggles. And for the record, I don't think their offense has been pitiful. It just hasn't been good. But yeah, we need to see improvements. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about Georgia, Tennessee. One of the top games of the day. Certainly lived up to it from an entertainment standpoint. I'm curious to hear what were your takeaways from either side? Like, what did you think?
Yeah, was very impressed with Tennessee. Looking more at the game, I was talking to you about it just before we hopped on here. I really thought that Heupel would have everyone up and running for this game. I thought Georgia was in a letdown spot because of the competition that they've played so far this season. And I didn't expect Georgia's defense to be that weak, to be honest. A lot of room for improvement. A lot of red flags to a team that now jumped up to second favorite to win the national championship on the defensive side. And a team like Ohio State, Tennessee can throw it all over you like that. I mean, good luck lining up against Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. They're just going to chuck it up there and they'll go get it because a couple of those DBs got mossed. Their highlight tapes are not going to be good to look at, unfortunately. That's going to be I'm sure that was a tough Monday morning film for some of those guys.
Yep.
But again, just like the game last year, dude, except they won the Georgia-Alabama game last year. Alabama was beating the shit out of them. Georgia just hung around, boom, come back. Tennessee misses a field goal. I think they should have kept pushing it a little closer just for the time and just, I mean, so I don't know. Tennessee should have won that game 100%.
Yeah. What a good early season SEC game. Tennessee season certainly is far from over. They definitely can still make the college football playoff. And for Georgia, I mean, this just gives a team like them not only cushion for maybe a future loss or two for college football playoff purposes, but also confidence. I was listening to a podcast and I hear that this Georgia team this year is a very young Georgia team, not a ton of veteran leadership there. So to get a big win like that on the road in Knoxville this early in the year could really do them some good as we move forward. So,
yeah, I just think that was early in the season, a must win for Tennessee for what they came out and fired. I feel like it's going to be hard to get up off the mat. I mean, that's just when you can beat Georgia. Oh man, I feel like that's going to be tough on Tennessee's season, unfortunately.
mm-hmm. final takeaways from me, just right off the rip, would be Alabama looked impressive. Ty Simpson is really dealing the ball efficiently in that offense, or at least he did against Wisconsin. Like you would like to see that level of efficiency that Alabama is currently showcasing with like an LSU, for example. That offense right now looks smooth, efficient, timing, protection. It looks really, really nice. Alabama might. I know they played Wisconsin. I know, but they might be a little bit back. And Miami, Miami, they certainly did not pump the brakes against South Florida. They covered that spread easily, even with, a weather delay. Like you said, the game was 6 hours long. But they continue to impress, and they have another interesting game against their in-state rival, Florida Gators, this upcoming Saturday. So,
yeah, added that to the card. If you follow us on our socials, we be sure to get the ads a couple hours before kick. Also, Action Network post all of the plays. So, yeah, that was a nice win midday because that just dragged on. It was green the whole time. How about Vandy? Norris Sellers goes down, but Vandy looked really, really good. Yeah, and coaching vacancies, obviously, I want to talk about these real quick. Some dumbass goes on the Friday live show, adds UCLA minus 15 to his card, and that might be the deadest dog bet that anyone has ever given out in the history of betting, not just the show. I don't know what, like that's the Friday brain scrambling right there. So yeah, UCLA without a head coach, Virginia Tech 1 point down, 31-0 to Old Dominion. Guess who had Virginia Tech -5 on their card? This guy has UCLA and Virginia Tech. So, yeah, interesting openings there. Two programs. I made a note here. It's time for us to separate when we were playing college football video games. Like, obviously, UCLA wasn't always any that good, but Virginia Tech was national championship contenders. It's time to just bury the logos, man. Virginia Tech is just not a good football program right now. And I don't know who's going to come fix it. I saw Pat Fitzgerald. Tell you what, he is a guy that would fit that Frank Beamer type 0-0 going into overtime. Like, he's a guy that could bring that style of football back to Blacksburg.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Virginia Tech is so freaking puzzling from starting the year on a nationally televised game on Sunday against South Carolina. Not looking great, but holding their own. And then Vanderbilt winning by 10 points at halftime until absolutely collapsing. And then last week, I have no words. I mean, like you said, 31-0 at home against Old Dominion. And I don't think Old Dominion's terrible, but what the fuck, man? Like, do you think the coach just showed up to practice on Monday and was like, yeah, guys, I don't care. Just run it. Like, I'm so dumbfounded by that result against Old Dominion. You could have told me that Virginia Tech would lose, but not in that fashion. And I guess, that's what happens and you get fired.
Yeah, puzzling, dude. Puzzling. So we'll see. Heard rumors of Gruden to Virginia Tech. That would hit my bold prediction for the preseason. So that'd be interesting. But yeah, I don't know who will take the UCLA job. Saw Josh Pate put a nice take for Ed Ogeron, Coach O. I think that would be pretty awesome. But yeah, they're in trouble. I mean, the transfer window opens, so any player can transfer out for 30 days. Obviously, they're not going to be able to play. It's not like free agency, but they'll keep this year of eligibility will be a wash, so they'll keep that. Can go wherever. They'll finish semester, whatever school they're at, and then they'll just go enroll at the other school. So at least it was a good thing by those universities. I don't know if it was on purpose or not to at least give the players that. But we'll see in the next week or so if Nico bails or if he's just going to try and he's not an NFL prospect. I don't know what the hell is going on there. That's going to be an interesting storyline going forward. UCLA is on watch to go 0-12.
Yes, they are. They have a big upcoming game against Northwestern, so that'll be an interesting one to watch on the lake. So you're telling me Nico can transfer here in the next week or two and still get his year of eligibility this year. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because he hasn't completed 4 games or yet.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. I almost expect him to transfer.
Yeah, who will take him, though? Circus. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yep, and then just wrapping up here, biggest winners and losers. Obviously, talked about Vandy, Texas A&M, Big 12. We'll talk about that game. Big game coming up here for Texas Tech. A lot of teams looking good. Arizona State bounced back pretty nicely. Utah looks good. Texas Tech looks good. I think Baylor looks good from bouncing back from that Auburn loss week 1. And then losers, talked about Texas. And then we talked about not using the portal. And then bottom of the Big Ten, you compare it to the bottom of the SEC. We got some trouble down there, folks. It's kind of ugly down there at the bottom of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Thought that was something to call out for the week.
Yeah. Yeah, Purdue USC was interesting. That was another big time weather delay. Did you see that USC defensive lineman get that interception and run it back for a touchdown?
Yeah.
Dang, that dude is like 350 pounds. You don't see that every day. There was also another crazy touchdown in that game, like craziest touchdown of the year potential. I don't know if did you see that one?
Villanova?
No, in the Purdue USC game.
Oh, no, I did not.
Just promise me you'll look it up.
Okay, I will.
It's nuts. And yes, I did see the Villanova one, the final play of the game. Wow.
One of the worst beats I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, Penn State deserves it with what James Franklin tries to do against other teams routinely, running up the score.
Yep. Shout out to the Northwestern Wildcats for covering as well on the lake. That was nice. And yeah, I think recaps just about everything, huh?
Probably. That sounds like a good start.
I have a question for you here before we dive into these games. Can you explain college PI to me? I've heard 3 different rulings on college PI. I've heard spot foul, I've heard 15 yards, and I've heard ball will be placed at the 2 when it doesn't even the foul doesn't occur in the end zone. It's like near the end zone. It's just like, we're going to place it at the 2.
Okay. No, I can't. I always just go by the standpoint of, hey, it's a 15-yard penalty, so you can chuck it 40 yards down the field, but it's only counts for 15 is usually how my brain works with that.
Yeah. And if we're in the trust tree, I mean, I don't want to put this out there, so I'll just say it hypothetically. He is the most efficient passer in the country, highest completion percentage, but I'm a little worried right now. Julian Sayin might be Kyle McCord 2.0. And a little worried, but still pending. Just a little worried.
Can I push back on that?
Sure.
Ohio State Kyle McCord was different than Syracuse Kyle McCord. Ohio State Kyle McCord was watching a movie in grayscale. Syracuse Kyle McCord was taking ecstasy and seeing the colors come to life.
Yeah. So you're saying that I'm calling him, like, I'm saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying he's a more likable Kyle McCord. Like, and he's a statue in the pocket. He does not move well. And I'm beginning to see why that QB battle went all the way to the buzzer.
Who's the guy in the wings?
Klienholz, but he's a year older than Sayin. But he's like their arch type. He's a fucking 6'5" monster that can run the ball a little bit. But he's a lefty too. Slings it.
Interesting.
Not as accurate. So we'll see. if we could combine them somehow, fuse them, I mean, Ohio State would win 3 national championships in a row.
Who's Ohio State's first test? And I don't mean like Penn State, but like
Next week. So they hit a bye, and then they are at Washington next week.
Okay, and like Washington, I swear they must have not have played anyone, because I have not heard a peep about Washington.
No, they haven't. And that's a perfect segue. Alex, I'm glad you brought that up. So before we dive into the slate, we're going to look at a couple games that we're not going to talk about. And just to note, so look-ahead games. We're start getting into those this season now that all the FCS games are off the schedule and everything. I had a few noted here. Let me know how you feel, because we're not really going to dive in because the spreads are so huge. Oregon, they are in the Civil War or they're home to Oregon State. So the rival, that Pac-12 rival that still play. They're a 35.5-point favorite, but they have Penn State on deck at Penn State. And you're telling me a 100-year-old rivalry, 5 touchdowns, just out of sheer put the players off the field. Out of that alone makes me want to be on Oregon State, no matter how bad they've looked.
I think I would lean that direction as well. When I watched a decent amount of Oregon versus Northwestern, and although Oregon got the job done, they weren't overly impressive in that game. It's not like they had explosives up and down the field. So I would tend to agree with you.
Yeah, another one, Washington team we just talked about. Another rivalry game. Apple Cup, Washington State. They're hosting. Washington's hosting. 20.5-point favorite, depending where you look. Washington State, lose 56-10 to North Texas last week. They're in some trouble. All of a sudden, Toledo might be favored by 2 touchdowns in a couple weeks.
No kidding.
But Washington hosts Ohio State next week. So, again, a rivalry game, biggest game of your season the week after. That many points makes me want to just take Washington State on that alone.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas, play Memphis, a sneaky little game at Memphis. They host Notre Dame next week. So, although Notre Dame's 0-2, that's a big game.
Yeah, I don't think it applies for Arkansas just because they lost against Ole Miss last week. So I think the focus will be there. And I think Arkansas and Memphis have a certain rivalry to them just because they're so close to each other. So, no, I don't think that'll be a look-ahead spot. I think Arkansas will be ready to play.
Okay. And then last one. This is one I like. It's already on the card. Ole Miss hosts Tulane plus 12.5. They get LSU next week. Hosting LSU.
I just don't feel like Ole Miss has deserved the right to have this type of look-ahead mentality. And I guess you never know with college kids and what the culture is like there. But, unless I'm missing something, Ole Miss has not been overly impressive despite them beating Kentucky and Arkansas to start the year. They definitely have flaws, especially defensively. And you got Tulane, who started the year 3-0 and has done it in a pretty impressive fashion. So, my brain certainly says Tulane in the points.
Retzlaff with another huge run. He looks really good. He's the second leading quarterback in rushing in that position. Tulane, Big Ten win, ACC win, looking for an SEC win to
Right.
notch that. Yeah, I think you're right, too. That might not be a look-ahead spot. Did you know that this used to be like a rivalry? They've played 67 times somehow.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, so, yeah, just look-ahead spots, and we'll see those week to week. I'll keep calling them out, but, yeah, very interesting. I like the 2 rivalry look-ahead spots with those huge numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, why don't we dive into the slate, huh?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So week 4, big game breakdown. We're going to start Saturday. This is a 10 a.m. local time kick, if you can believe that or not. It's on Fox. It is Texas Tech at Utah. Utah's favored by about 4 points at home. We got an over-under of 57.5. Hey, my quarterback, Texas Tech, is it Baron Morton?
Yeah.
Baron Morton?
Mm-hmm.
Saw his Heisman's down to 25-1. I got him at 100-1 to start the year. No big deal.
Yep. Pavia's closing in. He went from 125-1 to 60-1 in some spots.
Yep.
These boys have a couple long shots alive.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think of this game? Because I will start by saying I have not watched a single down of Texas Tech this year, and Utah, I saw their first game against UCLA where I thought to myself, holy shit, this team is all the way back. And then, of course, we all know now it was just UCLA. So I'm not really sure really what to think in this one. So I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, at the same time, they also dismantled on the road a Wyoming team this past week at Elevation. They went to Wyoming and did what they needed to do there. So, this team has been very impressive defensively a lot. But, Devin Dampier comes over with his offensive coordinator, pulls him a tier. And that's looked like it's paying dividends from the start. Obviously, Texas Tech took the Penn State route, playing nobody. Took the Oregon route. No offense to Northwestern, but that wasn't their choice. Sorry. But yeah, 10 a.m. start is so sleepy, dude. That's tough to see on the schedule. I hate that for the kids there, but they'll survive. Reminds anyone that played football, it's classic JV Saturday slot, like 9, 10 a.m. You don't get to play on Fridays, JV. You got to get up early and play on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, I just a couple concerns on Utah's side for how good they've looked. You have to wonder if Texas Tech can keep it to third and medium, to third and long, to force Dampier to throw it. That's probably not an ideal game script for Utah, and we're going to see how Utah will respond in that situation, because obviously that's going to come up throughout the season. And then Texas Tech side, Baron Morton's leading the country with 11 passing touchdowns. We get to see this defense finally get tested. So that's always my concern when you play 3 cupcakes, and then, obviously you didn't expect Oregon State to be the way they are, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. But Kent State, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, come on. I have to wonder if they're going to take like a minute to gear up game speed. So here's my play, Alex. I'm getting my lick back. First quarter lick back. Utah money line, first quarter.
Starting fast. What are you getting your look back on? Remind me.
First bet of the season. Georgia Tech, or not Georgia Tech. The Ireland game.
K-State,
Iowa State, first quarter.
That's right.
K-State over 6.5 team total.
So you're running that shit back.
Well, except just money line here. We'll take 3-0. That's fine.
Look, man, both teams have been really good, but neither team has played anyone. I guess Utah has probably had the tougher schedule because when they played UCLA, that was more of an unknown at the time.
Yeah.
And then they had to travel to Wyoming, like you said. So yeah, Utah's probably played a tougher schedule, but who knows what to think of in this game? Truly, who do you like to win the game if you just had to pick?
If I took money line, I'd take Utah with the home field. It's just a very tough environment. I like that as one of probably top 10 home environments in the entire country, especially when the team's good. So, I don't really have a play for the full game, just that first quarter, because I see this being a tied game in the fourth. So I would probably lean Texas Tech points for a play on the game, because I think it will live up to the hype. I think this will be a close game. I kind of like the under, too.
Florida taking on Miami. This game is no, this game's a night game. This game's at like 7 or 7:30.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Miami is favored by 7.5. Over under sitting at about 53.5. Dude, I don't know. Like this is such a Florida spot in this game. Losing 2 games in a row. Lost to South Florida 2 weeks ago, and they lost to LSU last week. It's just such a Florida spot. Like I was talking to my buddy earlier today, who's a huge Florida fan, and it's not really a matter of just Florida have the athletes, because I do think that they have the athletes. And when you look at their defense, they've only allowed, I think, 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Or I guess, yeah, for the first 3 games of the year, the defense has allowed 2 touchdowns total. So I'm not really too concerned about the defense and what I've seen from them so far for the most part. Obviously, it's Lagway throwing 5 interceptions against LSU. But on the flip side of that, Miami has been really impressive. Obviously, they beat Notre Dame to start the year, and then they dismantled South Florida last week in a spot where I'm sure many people were, expecting somewhat of a letdown. So, I mean, I don't mean to ramble. I'm just saying, like, I feel like if Florida hasn't lost the locker room, if Napier hasn't lost the guys in the locker room, I think Florida's going to show up. I think they're going to play really hard. I think it's going to be a better performance. I would lean that they would cover this number because I really do feel like it's a big time Florida spot. But maybe they just stink, and maybe Miami goes on and wins by double digits.
Yeah, that's like they did last season, where they absolutely mollywopped Florida. So Florida also trying to get their lick back in this personal rivalry here.
True. It's a good point.
Yeah, listen, you can't 127th in turnovers, giveaways, 125th in penalties, 9 per game, Florida. I mean, those are 2 things that you can clean up in practice. Penalties and turnovers. Be smart. So, I mean, this team, obviously, they did whatever they wanted with South Florida. They just couldn't cash in. They were moving the ball pretty handily. And then, LSU needed 5 picks to win by 10. Like, they shut down LSU's defense or offense. Yeah, I see the makings of a team that can definitely compete. But, yeah, you're right. This game is all mental, and I think this is the last bastion here. So it really depends on, do these players want to play for Napier anymore, or do they lay an egg and get him fired? Because I think if Florida loses by 21, he's done. There's no see you next week, bud.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's what my buddy said as well. So
I think we got to Florida, as long as they're over that key number at 7.5, they have the talent on the paper. When we look at these rosters, Florida can stay with Miami at 7.5 points.
100%.
You're not going to fool me in that.
100%. And there's no real home field advantage down in Miami for this game at all.
That's true.
It'll probably be a split crowd.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. Right now I'd lean Florida, and I'd lean the under, because if the game script is going to go Florida to cover, I don't think it'll be a 34-27 type game, but maybe.
Sure.
But I got to think Florida is going to commit to their running back, dude. That talented running back that they have back there. Give him the fucking ball and and take the ball out of Lagway's hands for a week.
Yeah, you'd think. You would certainly think. But he thought he was Cam Ward firing crossbody, cross field interception.
Well, he's closer to Cam Ward than you and I will ever be.
I guess so.
Because he's black.
No, Alex, Jesus. Technically, I'm closer to Cam Ward. He plays in Nashville.
True.
Bang.
Because I'm closer to Lagway. We're both in Florida. Okay. Auburn taking on Oklahoma. This is an interesting SEC game. 2:30 p.m. Central, ABC. Oklahoma is laying 6.5. The over/under is 47.5. Yeah. Talk to me. What do you think of this game?
This is bordering on play of the week here. I really, really like Oklahoma in this spot. Jackson Arnold, he's not a guy that plays up to the bright lights. Venables should absolutely eat that kid's lunch. If they take away that run capability, which this defense, that front seven, has really showed me something. And last week against Temple, could be a letdown spot on the road, weird spot, 11 a.m. kick, and off a big game against Michigan. And Oklahoma just absolutely beat the brakes off a team that's been hitting a stride with the new coach and, a little bit of successful offense. They held them to 3 points. Pretty hilarious ESPN mush. Put up the graphic with 3 minutes to go in the half. Oklahoma has not let up a point in the first half this season. Temple kicks a field goal before the half. And just like clockwork there. So, yeah, I really, really like Oklahoma minus 6.5 here. Get that before the key number. Already tweeted it out. Already have that bet place. Missed 5.5. I think it's a similar game to the Alabama-Oklahoma game. I think it's Oklahoma completely shuts down and smothers an offense that doesn't have a true identity. Obviously, they have some talented receivers, but I just don't trust that quarterback. This isn't Baylor lining up on the other side on defense. Like, your offense will need to execute against this Oklahoma defense, especially on the road. I don't see that here. I see like a 28-10 type game, 28-7, and I like the under as well.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma's defense is pretty legit. Offensively, I mean, how can you not be excited with John Mateer and the start to the season that they've had? I definitely think there are some things to work out, as we saw in that Michigan game, even though it was only the second game of the year. I mean, Oklahoma, far from perfect on offense. Definitely room to improve. Thankfully, it's a long year, and it hasn't been bad. I don't think it's been. Would you agree? I don't think it's been like elite. I don't think it's
Sure.
been.
I think that's still a lot of growing pains with new quarterback, new OC, and we saw him use, and that's the benefit of having a quarterback that can use his legs, right? So that'll grow over the season, and I think that he's just the best player on the field in just about every single game that he lines up in. So love that our boy is now the Heisman favorite, by the way, if you've seen that.
Yes, I certainly have, and I'm very pumped about that. As far as Auburn goes, yeah, man. I mean, I watched a lot of that game against Baylor to open up the year, and they ran Jackson Arnold a lot, and he really just kind of struck me as like, it kind of reminded me of Justin Fields having a good game in the NFL, where it's like they're just going to run this guy. He's going to make a few plays with his arm, but we're really going to utilize his legs. I think in a game like this, on the road at Oklahoma, they have a great home field environment against a good defense. I don't even think a pretty good. I'm going to say Oklahoma's like legit defense. I feel like Auburn might struggle to move the ball effectively, and especially punch it in for 6 when they do get down there into Oklahoma territory. So I agree with you, Burns. I agree with you on both Oklahoma side and under as far as leans go. But my concern would be, everyone else sees the same line as us, and yet we're still talking about a 6.5 or a 7. So, like, where's the trap? What are we missing?
Well, it moved from 5.5 to 6.5. So there has been some movement in our direction that we need to get on before it hits a key number, for sure.
Okay.
Listen, yeah, I'm good with laying it this early. I like the time slot. Nothing crazy. Sitting around all day, just that little afternoon game. Yeah, I'm good with laying the number here and the under.
All right. Michigan taking on Nebraska, same time slot, it looks like, 2:30 p.m. CBS. This game is Michigan, 2.5-point favorite on the road. Over under is 44.5. I'm having a hard time off the rip understanding why Michigan is favored in this game. And the reason I say that is because of Michigan's performance against Oklahoma just not even 2 short weeks ago, where the offense could not do anything. And do I think Nebraska's defense is as good as Oklahoma's? No, I do not. And I think Michigan will have more success and learn a little bit from that game against Oklahoma. But in the same paint stroke, I don't feel like Michigan's offense is going to explode in this game. And Nebraska, although they beat Cincinnati in kind of a sloppy game to start the year at Arrowhead, and I know they've played nobody, dude. I know they've played nobody, but they have taken care of business relatively easily, like winning games like 60-0 pretty much against some of these smaller schools. So again, dude, I keep saying it. This is like the year of Matt Rule. If Nebraska is going to be that type of team this year, any type of team, you ain't losing this game to Michigan on your home field with the start of the year that you've had, which is an undefeated start to the year against a freshman quarterback. I don't care how highly recruited he is. It's a Nebraska spot. It's their game to lose. But sometimes those teams do lose those types of games, even if it is their spot.
Yep. Biggest game since Colorado, Deion's opening season at Nebraska. Thank God Jeff Sims isn't under quarterback for any Nebraska bettors here. Listen, this is the year of the Rule. Year of Rule. It's a 3-year thing, right? He comes into Temple 1-11 or 2-10 his first year, 6-6 second year, 10-4 third year, 10-3 fourth year. Goes to Baylor 1-11 first year, then he goes 7-6 second year, 11-3 third year. So 5-7 Nebraska, 7-6 now currently 3-0 as a home game. This is it. I mean, Dylan Raiola has done very much what he needs to do. He's the second most efficient passer in the country. If they can establish a run game, that's the biggest concern that I have is, they did, let's not dismiss Cincinnati and saying they haven't played anyone. I know that's not like you call out Cincinnati like, hey, I'd say that's when we put you put it up against like an Oregon or Penn State or some other big schools non-conference schedule. I like Cincinnati.
Yeah, they're decent for sure. They're decent for sure.
Test. So the key here is I really need to see Nebraska, win the line of scrimmage. When we look at how Oklahoma really won that game was, and they were a little sloppy with the ball themselves. So, I mean, that should not have been as close as it was, if we're being completely honest. Michigan's still trying to find an identity when it comes to offense, no matter how much Elon's ugly algorithm put a ton of Michigan people in my timeline talking about a 60-point win against Central Michigan, who had a total of 3 interceptions last year on the entire season. 3.
Okay.
Telling me that's Bryce Underwood's let loose now. You know what they would do? You're right. They would do very well in the MAC. He's let loose in the MAC. Michigan would be a contender for a MAC championship for sure. If they just control that line and force him to throw the ball, and let's see what these receivers can do. I like what Nebraska's secondary can look like. And, I'm on Nebraska here, plus 2.5 at home. It's the wrong team's favored, like you said off the top.
Yeah, I think it opened even as more of like a pick 'em, and I think it's been bet towards Michigan, and I just don't understand it.
Yep.
And then a really, really fascinating night game we have been blessed with. We have Illinois taking on Indiana, and man, Burns, throughout my whole life, pretty much, if I had told you that Illinois was playing Indiana, both of these teams would be winless. It would be on the Big Ten network. The stadium
or ESPN
would be
ESPN2. Beth Mullins leading you into an 11 a.m. kick.
Right. Yeah. I went to an Indiana-Illinois game when I was like 13 in Champaign, and Indiana kicked a game-winning field goal at the horn. Might be some foreshadowing. Yeah.
Ooh.
So we got this game. very, very high stakes game. Both ranked, obviously. Indiana, this line has shot up to Indiana now minus 5.5 at least. Over under is 52.5. NBC, 6:30 p.m. Central, under the lights in Bloomington. Is Indiana going to win and cover?
I think so. But my play is the over here. I think obviously Indiana made a lot of headlines from last season to this season on their lack of a non-conference schedule. Illinois, kind of the same boat. They've done well on the defensive side at least to silence any critics so far this season, but I think these quarterbacks are just too good at that 52.5 number. Coming into the season, I said our favorite bet until they price us off it is going to be Indiana overs. Because this offense, that defense has some question marks that haven't been shown yet because they haven't played a competent offense yet. And I think that's going to be uncovered with a, in my mind, above average quarterback in Altmaier. So looking off the spread, because it has moved up significantly, 3.5 to 5.5 in just 2 days here to start the week is pretty crazy. So
6.5 now on Hard Rock.
Six. Oh, well, Hard Rock. Yeah.
The monopoly.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this over so much. This is one of those games like the Missouri-Kansas game, just kind of a heated rivalry that's always been there, but you've never paid attention to. But it could be 24-24 at half in my mind.
Interesting. Really interesting take. And you think Indiana, that would be your lean, that they're going to cover the spread?
I think so, yeah. I think last team, it could even go to overtime and they just score a touchdown and Illinois doesn't get in. So I think that number being a below that 6 key number so far is still comfortable enough for me. But I think that, but if I was betting the spread, I think I'd maybe want to be holding Illinois. But I just have so many question marks around why they're so highly ranked when, like, last season they stole so many games so closely. They returned they didn't really add a bunch, if really anything, to their roster. And so I think they're just returning a 7-5 team. And I just think that their record was kind of, they were ranked as like luckiest team, quote unquote, in college football last year with all the close wins they had.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I don't really have like analysis to give out on this show. I think I might get a better feel as the game gets closer, but it's obviously just a massive game for both teams. The only team that you can say that, anyone has played, well, I guess, Indiana played ODU to start the year, and that was like, 27-14. And Illinois beat Duke, but that game was closer than the score indicated. Illinois certainly had like their fair share of mistakes in that one. So I kind of like where your head's at with the over. I think I'm going to hop on that.
Yeah. I just think we're going to see something crazy that we made sure to bookmark from the beginning of the season. Take Indiana overs.
Yeah.
And Mendoza, more than a serviceable above average quarterback as well. Like the Indiana wide receiving core. Yeah. Just ride the over. Alt over 60.5.
Alt over plus money. More games. We are going to the Big Ten here, or staying in the Big Ten. Friday night game. Friday night. Yeah. Burns' favorite. 7 a.m. 7 p.m. Central on Fox. Iowa taking on Rutgers. Iowa, small favorite on the road, 2.5 points. Over unders 45.5. Tell me.
Can you believe it? I like a side and I might bet something here. When will I learn to just lay off the Friday games, dude?
You're too much of a degenerate. I don't think you'll ever learn.
Just lay off, dude. After I should be banned. Like the book should ban me from Friday after having a UCLA minus 15.5 ticket in my bet history. Like I should be able to put how you can like suspend yourself I should reach out and see if I can suspend myself from Friday wagering.
Right. Just put a lock on my eight different books.
Yeah. Yeah, so Rutgers has been home, played a little MAC gauntlet there. Handling the better MAC teams. Obviously Ohio made it close, but put up numbers 34-45 against Miami of Ohio, two of the best defenses in the MAC. Then had a tune-up game last week, so well over 400 yards. I think that's all fool's gold, in my opinion. I think everyone's really down on Iowa right now, which is fair. Gronowski, boy, some of that tape is brutal. It is brutal. Like but maybe that's just overexcitement from being on the big stage in a big program. Congrats to Kurt Ferentz on all-time leading Big Ten wins leader. Let's give a round of applause for Kurt. Good work, Kurt. Couple stats that always pop out. I like to. Where'd they go? Where the fuck those stats go? Oh no.
They gone.
Oh my God, they are gone. Okay. Iowa 21-8-1. When they are
a road favorite
in the Big
since
Ten.
2014.
Yep. And then also I think they're 17-7-1 as less than a field goal or less in the Big Ten over the last 10 years. So they thrive in these spots. They just thrive as a small road favorite. I just think better defense, Iowa. I mean, obviously the best defense Rutgers will have seen. I like the Friday night aspect. So 46.5 seems like a lot of points to me, Alex. I would like the under in that spot.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I really want to go with Iowa in this game because, like you said, the numbers totally back them up as a small road favorite. This is their time to shine. This is what they do. They go beat Rutgers. They go beat Minnesota on the road. This is what Iowa does. But like you said, off the rip, man, Rutgers, pretty impressive wins against Ohio and Miami of Ohio. So I just wonder if this team's built a little bit different this year.
Ooh.
So
I think they could be.
I think they could be too. I think Friday is it's a big game for both squads early on in the year. All right, keeping the train moving. South Carolina taking on Mizzou. Is this game 11 a.m. Central? Really?
Nope, it got moved. It's 6 o'clock kickoff.
Okay, 6 o'clock kickoff. Mizzou is about a 10-point favorite. Over under sits around 48.5. As we record this, we're unsure if South Carolina quarterback Lenore Sellers is going to play in this game after sustaining a concussion against Vanderbilt last week. Talk to me, Burns. What do you like?
Oh, man. Listen, I really like this Missouri team. They are completely balanced. Maybe one of the most balanced teams in the entire country. Med Hardy and then Roberts is a dual threat or a two-headed monster in the backfield. Hardy is second in the nation in rushing. And then Roberts, I think, is like 27th or something. So almost two top 25 running backs. Averaging 600 yards of offense so far per game. 47 points a game. Listen, their offense has been humming. Allowing a few points maybe they shouldn't have here and there. Defense needs to tighten it up just a little bit. But, yeah. And I really don't like South Carolina, to be honest, even with Sellers. We kind of called that out at the beginning of the season. Like, there's way too much hype around this team that just kind of played with no, I guess, repercussions last year. It was just like, if we lose, whatever, we already stunk it up. Kick off the season with the expectations. So, yeah, I like Missouri in the spot. I like it that it's kind of coming down a little bit for us. So I hope Sellers kind of gets announced and we can get it closer to 7.5 because I would like Missouri at home with that number.
Yeah. Sure. I agree. I think Missouri wins the game. Not sure if they cover the margin. South Carolina, you have to ask yourself, are they even any good at all? I just think it's a fair question to ask. They beat Virginia Tech, who we know really stinks now to start the year.
Had trouble beating them too.
And that's what I was going to say. Yeah, they had trouble beating Virginia Tech. It wasn't a smooth game by any stretch. And last week against Vanderbilt, look, the casual will talk about Sellers. Sellers got hurt. Sellers this, Sellers that. You and I, we watched most of that game. It didn't matter if Sellers was playing or not.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt kicked the shit out of South Carolina on both sides of the ball.
Agreed.
So I'm just not sure if South Carolina is any good. I think they will show up to Mizzou. I think the first half could be a little frisky. I could see that possibly going down. But overall, I expect Mizzou to win the game. But I know people come here for entertainment and also for sides. And I don't know. I guess we'll just kind of monitor the line and see if it continues to go down. Because like you said, if it gets to 7 or something like that, might be worth looking at Mizzou.
Yeah, absolutely.
Arizona State taking on Baylor. 6:30 p.m. Central Fox. Baylor is a small home favorite, -2.5. The total is at 60.5. I'm kind of my first gut reaction to this was we're doing this whole thing with Arizona State again, where they're like, I don't know. I guess it's my way of saying I feel like the number should be bigger. Arizona State had their first road test against Mississippi State. They lost, and now they have to go into Baylor. And now you're asking me to like expect them in essentially a pick'em game to like win. I don't see it, but at the same time, I'm not like a diehard fan of either of these teams, so I don't like watch every snap at the same time.
For sure. Yeah, defense showed me a little something last week against Texas State. I was on that over, not even close. Thought Texas State would be able to at least get some numbers up there while letting up 1 million points. They did not. But I already bet this over 59.5. This is also in the running for a best bet. Until Baylor proves otherwise, we're betting overs if there's an above average offense on the other side of the field. And Arizona State has more than an above average offense. Jordan Tyson with another insane catch last week. He's just a beast and a problem.
Yeah.
This game, each team will get into the 30s. This is a no-brainer for me. I know he said stop filling your card with overs. I think that's only the second over, maybe the third. So there's 2 overs that I really like this week, and that's Indiana, Illinois, and then Baylor, Arizona State. Yeah, it's one of those plays where you just until this team, X team, can prove otherwise, they've shown me that they cannot stop a cold on defense.
I like your thought process with that. Sawyer Robertson, Baylor's quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country, and not a whole lot of people know about him unless they follow the sport.
Baylor 4th in the country in pace, so like this game's going to be moving
and grooving. Tulane taking on Ole Miss. I know we briefly touched on this earlier, so we both lean Tulane. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good spot.
I mean, Ole Miss over these last couple of years, you can point to their defense. Their defense has been a strength. This year, at least so far, that doesn't appear to be the case. I mean, Arkansas, I think, has a pretty good offense, but they were able to score points at will. And even Kentucky was able to put up some points against Ole Miss. So I think Tulane should be able to move the ball. Defensively, Tulane's probably better than Arkansas at this point.
Yeah, I think so. They've shown some strengths on the in the trenches. Only concern, Tulane cannot beat themselves in this game. The bottom 20 in the country in penalties. Can't have that. But top 10 in the country in turnover margin. So obviously that a little tilted from turning Northwestern over 4 times. Still, this is a defense that can kind of bring it down. When I first saw this, I liked the under. When I look at that number, 54.5, it's kind of more of a tentative game, feeling each team out. And I don't see an up and down the field, but I do have Tulane plus 12.5 here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're kind of cooking with these sides. I'm feeling the sides that you're putting out. Pause.
You feeling my
And
sides?
I said pause. Tulane, you have to wonder if like this will be too much. Like, will the moment be too big for them? Because who'd they play? Was it South Alabama where they only won by 2 points on the road? Is their only road game?
Yeah, they were extending the lead and then just couldn't put them away. So
yeah,
we don't need them to win though.
Correct. Just need them to cover.
Although if they do win, that should basically just nullify their spot in the college football playoff. Don't even have to play the conference.
What about Toledo, dude? Come on now.
Yeah, but I didn't put a bet on Toledo to make the playoff. I have plus 800 on Tulane.
Would you rather see Tulane make the playoff over your favorite team, Toledo?
Okay.
I'm asking you a question.
Alumni, not favorite team. This isn't NFL. This is alumni. Yes,
So-
I'd obviously rather see Toledo in over anyone else. I mean, what kind of question is that?
Just a question. And now I got my answer. But you seemed a little aggressive.
Okay. Speaking of aggressive, Wild Hogs up next.
Yeah, Arkansas taking on Memphis, the Calipari Bowl, one might call it. Arkansas laying 7 on the road. I think it could be up to 7.5 at some spots. Over under 62.5. Arkansas has seemed like a pretty damn fun team this year with Taylon Green at quarterback and putting up points, but doesn't appear that their defense can really stop anyone. And I haven't watched any of Memphis this year, but from what I've seen, scoreboard watching, they've started off their year pretty effectively.
Sure, yeah. And the wrong side, saw that one coming from a mile away last week. Called it out, didn't put it on the card, but too many people were on Troy. No respect to Memphis. 4.5, and they covered easily. 28-7, I believe, was the final.
Yep.
Yeah, so Memphis has just got a buddy there. Shout out Jeff, offensive lineman from Toledo. That's a coach, offensive line coach at Memphis. So they play ball down there. This number is far too high. Taylon Green's offense, though, oh mama. That was a tough loss. You hate seeing the wide receiver fumble the ball when you're driving down. I mean, Arkansas could be sitting here 3-0, and we could be talking a different story. Was that loss enough to talk us off? 62.5 is what I'm seeing, and I like the under here. I like a timid spot. This isn't a Memphis of old where we're talking about just moving up and down the field either. So I think they can play a little defense here. If Arkansas does get up like 4 scores, they're going to try and get out of here with as few injuries as possible with Notre Dame on deck. So I like the under 62.5. Too many points.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be interested to watch. I don't know if I'll have a bet on it, but should be just an entertaining, fun game, I think.
Yep.
SMU, Southern Methodist University taking on Texas Christian University. Do you prefer the Methodists or the Christians?
That's for another podcast, brother. No, I'm kidding.
Let's get to roasting on this.
Yeah. Do you like the Froggies or the Ponies? I thought this was a wildly just underappreciated game here. Not talked about by really anyone. I don't know if it's because SMU lost, But this is a nice game. Kick us off at noon. And I can't really wrap my head around how TCU is a full touchdown favorite here. I feel like the disrespect for Kevin Jennings and SMU is just a little bit of an overreaction. I know we saw TCU on a national scale beat the crap out of Billy B and his Tar Heels, but I see this game as two teams that will be able to move the ball. This might get an overplay. 64 is pretty steep. See a little contrarian play, maybe the under. But the first thing I saw and liked was SMU +7 when I saw those points. TCU stops the run, SMU stops the run, both allowing less than 3 yards a carry. When it comes to passing, though, TCU has allowed some yards through the air. So having Jennings there, pretty good. TCU averaging, they piled up the takeaways against UNC.
Yeah.
So SMU, one of those teams, penalties have been hurting them early in the season. Like to see that turnaround, fixable, and they've taken away the ball 7th most in the entire country. So 2 evenly matched teams that shouldn't be a touchdown spread.
Okay. I kind of feel like something stinks this year with SMU.
You do?
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, they had that Baylor game and they completely shat down their leg. But I mean, they win that Baylor game, they're 3-0. Maybe you're singing a different tune, Canary.
Definitely might be singing a different tune. 28-10 last week against Missouri State.
And they were down 10-0.
TCU's got Josh Hoover, who appears to be on track to have a really, really good year. Shout out Hoover, our fellow furry.
No, not fellow. Hold on.
I like TCU for just because they're at home, and I just feel that SMU is kind of on track for more of a regression year after the season they had last year. And again, you got to be careful with the bets that you feel, because there's no analysis going into that. But yeah, I think I prefer TCU in this spot.
Yeah. Nice game to kick us off at noon.
For sure. And then not kicking us off at noon, but
putting us to bed.
Putting us to bed. Dude, this game kicks off at 11 p.m. Eastern. Rick Dalton, my father-in-law, a diehard Michigan State Spartan fan. If you're listening to this, I do not think you will be up for the entire duration of the game. So take that as a challenge. Maybe you're listening to this and you're shaking you're nodding your head and you're like, you're absolutely right. I won't be up. I don't know. You got a big day on Sunday because you got the terrorist Shazier, the Texans linebacker, coming back to Jacksonville, and they hate him in Jacksonville after what he did to Trevor last year. So you got a big day. You got to rest up. But Michigan State taking on USC. USC is about a 19-point favorite here. Over under is 56.5. My gut reaction when I saw this line was, wow, that's a whole lot of points. My goodness. I don't know if I agree with that. But then I listened to a preview of this game earlier today, and they were making points about Boston College just dicing up this Michigan State secondary. And what do you think USC is going to do to them? And then I kind of started coming around to like, well, maybe it is a USC spot. What do you think?
24 points to Youngstown State is concerning. 41-24. That's not what you want to see. Shout out to the Penguins when you have such a high-powered USC offense at home. I mean, USC has averaged 55 points so far this season, number 1 in the country, 604 yards per game. We saw that take a little step back in a sleepy spot on the road in West Lafayette. So there is some kind of regression back to earth. I don't know how to look at this game, Alex, because they go to West Lafayette. This is USC, fly back, and then next week they're in Champaign. So a very ugly schedule for travel.
Yeah.
On the body and everything concerns me there. So what are your thoughts on a sandwich spot of 18.5 is just too many points. USC wants to survive, get out of here. They'll win by 14 or 10.
I like that line of thinking, and that would make me also lean the under of all things, which makes me want to puke just saying that out loud. I cannot take the under in this game. I can't. No.
Tell you what, what's going to piss me off is because I'm up for the late games. Is just fucking going into half, and the Trojans high step to the end zone is 31-0. As we send those Spartan fans to bed early tonight. Fuck.
I don't think Michigan State is in that position this year. I think they were last year. They had like a big game against Ohio State, and I know they made some self-inflicted wounds or mistakes in that game, and they had another one as well last year. So I feel like this year is you can't go to LA and it cannot be, 24-0 right off the gate. I don't know how that's going to look, but this is year 2 of Jonathan Smith, year 2 of Aiden Childs. I mean, Childs ain't the problem. Nick Marsh isn't the problem. It's the defense that I'm really concerned about. And you just said it. USC scores 55 points a game to start the year. I mean, Michigan State couldn't stop Boston College from scoring 40. How are they going to stop USC from scoring 40? You know?
56. This might be lock of the century over.
Seriously.
This might be lock of the century over.
Right. I mean, Purdue was able to score 17. They threw for 305 yards. Purdue did. I'm sure Michigan State will be able to move the ball.
Yeah. Got to punch it in the end zone, though.
Let's go with like a weird, 44-31 type game.
Ooh.
Easy over.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice, Alex. All right. Any other games that stuck out to you?
Let me take a quick look. You got anything while I look?
Yeah, I got one play on the card Thursday night. Just bet it and watch the NFL game because it's going to be ugly. Rice, Charlotte. Oh, man. 2 very slow-moving teams. Charlotte is, they're going back and forth with Monmouth, I think. No, this isn't basketball season. And Rice has kind of arrived a little bit early. Their defense looks really good. They've allowed the fewest red zone possessions in the entire country. I would lean the under. I don't want 42.5 under on my card. So I'm on Rice money line -135. Just take Rice. I think they're going to have long. It's going to be a boring ass game. Don't watch it. Rice money line 135.
All right, love it. I mean, nothing's really jumping out at me in terms of other games to cover.
Yeah, kind of a weird slate.
North Carolina UCF is interesting because of the whole Belichick thing. I when I first saw the line, I don't know why UCF is favorited by almost a touchdown. That was my initial reaction.
Yeah, I think a bit of fool's gold from UNC. They only had 24 points going in the fourth quarter last week against the FCS school. What are they? How did they get to 41? Whatever that is. They had 20 points, and then they scored 21 in the fourth quarter to just run it up. Did you see that? Maybe, can we get an investigation against the visiting coach? They kept driving. They were calling timeouts to try and score, and they get it down to the 15 instead of pushing to the end zone. They kick the field goal as the time expires, and it's 41-6. And the over was 46.5.
Oh, wow. I missed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting. That guy's definitely getting a call from the gaming board.
Here's a weird game that
Richmond.
falls into your category of weirdness. UNLV taking on Miami of Ohio.
Yeah. Yep. Miami off a bye to UNLV. We've seen them a lot early in the season. I think this is a must-win spot. Home. Going to be a weird environment for UNLV. And what is it? Yost Field or something? Anyway. Jaeger. Thank you. I knew it was a Y. I think, I've seen a few people like UNLV as their best bet. I like Miami in this spot. I think that defense gets a chance to bounce back. And, I just like Miami with the points at home.
Yeah. And I know we were going to cover it as far as a bet goes, but we have West Virginia taking on Kansas this week. And you said it last week on the podcast. West Virginia does not have a quarterback. They have like 5 quarterbacks. And I watched them play Pitt last week in that crazy ass game. And you're right. West Virginia does not have a quarterback. I do not know how they are going to cover that number against Kansas this week.
We'll never forgive Pitt for that. Up 10, like 3 minutes ago. Anyway. Yeah, I really like Kansas here. Really like Kansas. I like the under because West Virginia, I mean, they just are inept on offense. I mean, that was a big-time emotional rivalry game at home. Rich Rod's back means a lot. Just means a little different for that rivalry game. This is a big letdown spot. Kansas's defense has kind of surprised me a little bit. They have been able to kind of contain the run. Just a few explosive plays against Missouri, but other than that, they were able to kind of contain that rushing attack. And if they can shut down West Virginia's offense, this under is going to hit comfortably, and Kansas might win just 31-3 or 31-0. So I like Kansas at home, and with the points, get it now 13.5, and I'd lean under here.
Cool. I got 11.5 on Monday.
Nice.
So
that's a great play.
Sharp is attacked. Yeah, I think that's it. Where do you want to go from here?
So Mac Messiah segment. It's time. Boys back. Boy, was it a tough loss last week, Alex. Kent State, Buffalo. It was 7-0. We had the under 48.5. 7-0 with 3 minutes to go in the half. 17 points later. We have 24 at half total. And Kent State just wakes up some sort of demon. Their quarterback, DeShields, this guy is the most frustrating quarterback I've ever watched. He threw the ball crossing the line of scrimmage, no joke, 6 times. Like, they had to review if he passed it past the line of scrimmage 4 times.
I was watching.
It was insane, this guy's lack of awareness at the line of scrimmage.
But it kept working.
He's a gamer, though. I'll give him that. And somehow Kent State looked like the 2007 New England Patriots and had like 400 yards of offense. Buffalo woke up and they said, oh, yeah, we can just throw the ball over the top. So, yeah, as much as that game was still under late into the fourth, it did lose. So we're 0-1, all that to say. But we're going back to the ender. We're getting it back. Toledo on the road, Western Michigan, our only MAC versus MAC game this week. And Toledo's just looked more and more impressive as the season's gone on. Obviously, Morgan State, take it with a grain of salt. 60-0 is still impressive because the defense just really did not allow an inch, which that's really what makes me optimistic for going into the MAC season, is to be locked in even for those lesser opponents. Western Michigan, That game where they went to overtime with North Texas, they still had less than 100 yards passing. Just a wacky, wacky game to even be in that game. They're running it a lot, and Toledo's defense can really force them to throw the ball, which is going to be a problem for Western. So I don't see them scoring very often. Toledo's offense will always look to run the ball first. 51, too many points. So I like the under again, and I would also lean Toledo 13.5 if you can still get it.
Love it. Let's go. The Mac Messiah is back. Win total update for our season wins parlay bet.
Yeah. So 10 legs, paid like 68 to 1. Mayor, it's looking good. We have some legs here. Just read it off quickly. We have Nebraska, Washington, Buffalo, Florida State, Air Force, and Vanderbilt all over 90%
To get
to
6 or
win.
more wins.
to get 6 or more wins. That's all we need. Pitt, 59%. Miami of Ohio, 54%. Also a big game this week for that. Iowa, 46%. Big game on the road. And then our bringing up the rear, MTSU, went from 12 to 21% this week. 21% to get to 6 wins.
Flip that shit.
And we have a game against Marshall, and then next week against Delaware. So all of a sudden, some games that are winnable right in front of us right now. I'll be in attendance for, I think, the yeah. I'm going to an MTSU game this year. Oh man. Fuck, what game is that? I think Missouri State. I don't know, something just gonna be a $2 ticket. So yeah, trending. And of course, that's how it looks. There's always one leg that just really sweats you out in these big parlays. But if they made them easy, everyone would bet them, and no sports book would exist. So that's why it's so good, Alex.
That's right. Well said.
All right, teaser.
Yeah, how'd we do last week?
All right, so you're gonna really appreciate this. I think you're gonna get a good old chuckle out of this one, Alex. Where's it at? Oh no. Well, last week we went 3-3. I went 0-3. You went 3-0 on the teaser side. Yeah, it was tough. I took all favorites. You took all dogs, and obviously all dogs. It's the right play. So I'm sorry here. Let me pull this up for the viewers. Just loading here.
God bless the viewers. And God bless the USA.
Here it is. Let's go. All right. Week 4 is pretty spicy. So there's week 3. I had Notre Dame, UConn, and Buffalo. UConn lost again in overtime.
Oh Classic. My gosh. Come on.
That over hit almost in the first quarter. Then Buffalo, thanks, Kent State, almost hit our win total and then lost in the last second. So double loser, triple loser for me. Then Georgia across the line pays off. Holy shit.
Nuts.
Arkansas, easy cover, and Vanderbilt, easy cover. So, all right, let's talk week 4. Love it. We've got NC State. It's a game we didn't talk about. Weird 3.5-point dog. Duke just keeps getting favored and keeps losing. So, really like CJ Bailey at quarterback. Side note, if you can go watch the highlights from NC State Wake Forest, final play, I gave out NC State at -7.5. They won by 10. Final play by Wake. Throw the ball right up the middle. Hits the umpire right in the junk. Like a legitimate prank TV show. Hit him right in the groin to end the game.
That's how the game ends, huh?
On 4th and 10. Oh, man. I can't screen record the ESPN app. That's communist China there. But anyway, yeah, we're back on NC State. Troy, Buffalo shouldn't be laying 13 with anyone right now, and Troy's been a quiet little surprise here. They'll cover 13, and then Miami of Ohio get up to 9. Alex, what about your plays?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nebraska. They're 2.5-point home underdogs right now against Michigan. Tease them up to +9. I really like that one. Florida at Miami +7.5. We're going to tease them up to +14. It's a big spot for Florida. I like that. +14 points in a rivalry game and a must-win game for Florida. And then Kansas, we're going to tease them down from -13.5 to -7. When you're playing a team that doesn't have a quarterback, I like our chances to cover 7 points, especially the way Kansas has started the year. They looked pretty good. So this teaser at 6.5 points pays 5-1.
That's great. And then I have a card here put together. Obviously, get our final cards on Friday, the live show, also our social accounts. But so far, what I have on my card, Rice, like I said, money line on Thursday, tomorrow. Then I have Utah first quarter, Oklahoma -6.5, Oklahoma Auburn under 47.5, Arkansas Memphis under 61.5. Give me Tulane +11.5, 12.5, wherever you can get it. Give me ECU BYU. Weird game here. Over 49.5. Studies show that traveling that far, but getting the late evening game, this game kicks at 6:30, is less detrimental than having to kick off in the afternoon. So I have no fear in BYU being able to score. ASU Baylor over. Toledo, Western Michigan under 51.5. Nebraska +2.5. Kansas, WVU under 56.5. Also like Kansas spread. And then Illinois, Indiana is my lock over 52.5 best bets. I think I might be putting out best bets now. A couple that I bet more than one unit on instead of one lock.
Well, we still have to do one lock.
Okay. All right. More graphics for me.
You can do best bets and locks.
Can I have multiple locks in a week?
No. We can reconsider in 2026.
Oh my God. It's not like there's a trophy or anything. And you never
No.
ate your hot wings.
Fuck.
You're a disgrace to the lock challenge.
I forgot about that.
Do you have any plays that you're liking on? You already said you got Kansas at -11.5.
Yeah. And I locked in your Oklahoma -6.5 against Auburn. I'm going to tail that. Yeah, I mean, I thought we had some really good points. I liked quite a few of your sides. Pause. And breaking down the games always gives me a little bit more clarity, but it's my long way of saying no. I'll give you my full card on Friday.
Call me Boston Market the way I'm serving up the sides, baby.
Shout out Boston Market.
Hey, shout out.
Do they still exist?
That's a great question. They do in the freezer section. We'll occasionally grab that mac and cheese as a side. That's the goated mac and cheese of fast food.
Yeah, Boston Market was awesome. I didn't appreciate it as much as a kid. I would go there every now and then, like my parents would take me, and I was probably, 10 years old. And I was never too thrilled about Boston Market, but I think as an adult, I would really like it.
It's just Thanksgiving all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Look forward to getting the cards. See everyone. New time. I start on 5 o'clock Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Had a few more people show up at that time slot on Fridays. And I promise not to bet UCLA the rest of this season.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye. Love you.